Hey guys, it's Gus, and I'm on my fourth iteration of the Master Shackles of Divinity build, and I'm very happy with this build. I don't think I'm going to be able to improve this very much, if at all, while this module is currently out. There is a helmet I would like to get. It gives 7% CA instead of 10%, and it's a couple thousand item level higher, but I'm pretty convinced I'm not going to get it. And the big reason I'm putting this out is I'm getting asked by a lot of players what my build is because this is probably the first time in the last 9 years I've been playing this game that I feel like I'm actually doing significant amount of damage. And people are noticing. And so I'm being asked a lot. So let me cover how this build is. The first thing is this is very expensive build. You're going to see why. It relies on a number of consumables and it relies on an overload that's quite expensive. Um, but you don't have to do all this. For example, I have this artifact in here, so I'm missing a couple thousand ratings. So if I take out the Crimson Calamity and put in a normal artifact that gives trip offensive stats, you could avoid a lot of the consumables, but you'd lose, around 1,000 item level. And I'm trying to pump out as much as I can because this trial, I know a lot of people haven't done it yet, but for the people who have been doing it, it's getting kind of stale. So we're racing each other, and that's what kind of makes it fun. A couple notes. Here's the consumables I'm using. Well, I didn't get this one out yet. I'll need it when I'm going over the stats for you. So the consumables I'm using are the campfire buff, squash soup, prime rib, flask of potency, Sunlord's gift elixir, and the scroll of fate power. Now I have 10, 15 stacks of this because I've done videos on these in the past and I never really used them, so I got them just piled up, so it doesn't bother me that much. So that is a 30-minute buff, but it goes away when you die. We actually, once you're in a group that's been doing this trial a lot, you don't die too much. Um, so I did two builds. The third build I didn't post. Is I was a lot higher item level. I was um I was around 100. I was almost 129,000 item level. But I'm running a lot of ASOD also for collections, so that wasn't helping me. But this build might actually have more damage potential than that, even though it's quite a bit lower item level. Normal group buff supply for the trial. We're assuming there's a paladin here, healer giving aura for 4% crit. We're using the 3 CA companions, Flapjack, Tutor, Portobello, and we're using an Atrian. This is not built around the blue fire eye though. So if we did have the blue fire eye, there would be 3% more crit, but this build doesn't need it, and we normally don't run with that. It's assuming 2-pack tactics, a mystic aura, and a runic aura. And if you did watch my last build video, you're going to notice quite a bit of changes with this. Let's go over stats real quick. I know people focus on this a lot. So we're at 85.1 power. And sorry if I take too long going over this. We're going to get 18% from the 4 raptors. We're going to get 4.5% from the Mystic Aura and Runic Aura. We're going to get 3.5% from Portobello. We're going to get 2% from the Atrian, and we're going to get 7% from the Boots, which puts us at 120.1. So we're missing a tiny bit. We're over by a tad bit. But we're basically using most of that Scroll of Fate power. And I actually do use this stuff, believe it or not. Accuracy is currently at 61.5, but we're going to get 2.25 from the, is it Mystic Aura? Yeah, I think it's Mystic Aura. And we're going to get 8% from the gloves. Very lucky to have gotten those gloves. We're going to get 10.8% from the lightning enchant, and we're going to get 7.5% from the MC set that puts it, so we're at 90.05 accuracy. We're over by 50 ratings. Not too big of a loss. CA is probably the worst stat. We're at 80.3 sitting here. We're going to get 5% from tutor, 5% for blackjack, 3.5% from Portobello Da Vinci. We'll get 2.5% from the spider totem. We'll get 10% from the helm, and we'll get 10% from the pants, and we'll get uh, plus what is it, 3.375 from the two-time pack tactics. So that will put us at 119.675. So we're under by 3.25%. 0.3%. Crit is at 58.5. We're going to get 10.88 from lightning. We'll get 7% from the chest piece. We'll get 7.5 or 7% from the boot, 7.5% from the chest, 4% from the paladin, and 2% from Atrian. So we're at 89.8. So we're 0.2 under. And crit save is currently over. I was trying to figure out how to get that in the CA. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. It's at 120.5. It's at exactly 120 without the campfire buff. So we're a little bit over on that one. So CA is under by 0.375 and crit is under by 0.2. So we're missing 0.575% of 1%. So half of a percent of 1%, or half of 1%. So we're not fully capped, but we're pretty close. Um, so the gears I'm still using this helmet. You'll notice in the phase one, you won't do as much damage as you will in the other phases because of this. You won't have this during the first article. The this armor, it gives a lot of defensive ratings, but its offensive, its crit and crit severity are really nice with that item level. These goes are they give a 4% constant CA, and then you can get 8% accuracy when you're in combat with one enemy, which is the majority of the fight. Upstairs, downstairs, I'm using the new Mastercraft. These give us 5% crit severity and 3% outgoing damage whenever your health is full, and 12% movement speed. And we're using the treads. These just got, I'm not, they got nerfed, but they got adjusted on the patch notes. You have to hit the boss for 35% or 35% of your health in order for these procs to happen. We do a lot of encounters, and by myself, just going in the trial without all the group buffs, my at wills are hitting hard enough to proc this. So this is not too bad. I'm not feeling the nerf. These have a very high uptime. I'm using the pistol. Shoot, that's what I had wrong. I should have used. I should have used the. I should have used the knives. These give a little bit more radiance. That's where I was missing my CA, I think. Mm, well, I built around this, so we'll use the pistol. The knives give a little bit more. We're using the Armor Aegon, the Crimson Calamity for the 2600 item level, and it has 2600 combined rating. And we have the Night Flame sensor summoned as our primary. Groups are starting to let me use this a lot more often, asking me to use the crystal as well, which is very um, humbling. Thank you, everybody. Uh, the build's working. Oh, uh, I want to give a big shout out to Zarkon and Nato. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, man. They've been helping a lot, making a ton of suggestions with the build. Oh, and Hitro, thank you. Nato, Hitro, and Zarkon, you guys give a lot of tips. So I am back to the MC set, and it's just like Zarkon said, like your artifact rotation, you can do the same artifact rotation without the Shermanwood set, but after the artifact call is over, like when I go over to the balls, my encounters are up to do fast damage on them, and I'm noticing that. So even though my item level goes down using these a little bit instead of the Spelljammer, I believe my effectiveness is going up. And I'm using the 5% Sanguine Seal and 7.5% or 7% crit severity. Yeah, this one's expensive, guys. And the same, the 7% damage when you're in the trial, and the 10% combat advantage when you're in the well anywhere. And these give a set bonus of 2% CA as well. Stats, I already went over these. I know I am a little bit over on crit strike by 14. I'll get over that. It's the crit sev I got to figure out what to do with. Um, Enchantments, I'm using all triple slot. An Amylite, a Bismuth, and a Bone Filigree. Defensive ones, I am not worried about it, but I probably should put more defensive in there. Because in P7, I'm that guy in a hypo that will die and nobody else will. I think it's because my defense is way too low. But I'm not worried about it because at that point, the dungeon's complete. I'm using the Day Supremacy. This is doing big damage in here, guys. Arguably more than the Rage of Flames on the Warden at least. This is doing nearly 3% damage, like 2.8, 2.9% of your overall damage, which is a big gain. I would use the Sword Coast Tacticians or the Devil's Precision if I could figure out another place in my build to remove stats to gain outgoing damage, but I just haven't been able to yet. Possibly with the Celestial Boots, but I haven't gotten those. And Lightning, and I'm still using the movement speed. AP gain would be really nice. I'm doing 3 Force Ghosts per minute, but I know other players like Nato is doing 4. So if you can get that 4th daily out, that's huge. I did try running it, the 6% um, AP gain. It wasn't working for me. I still was at 3 dailies per minute. Powers, same. We're going to be using Rapid Shot and Electric Shot. Electric Shot's for downstairs. This is for upstairs. We're still using Hindering Strike, Throw Caution, Thorn Ward. Now, here's something you may like. We're not relying on Aspect of the Pack or Aspect of the Lone Wolf. So we're getting Blade Storm, which is roughly 2% damage, maybe. And we're using Aspect of the Serpent, which really doesn't do that much, but it's better than anything else we got. If you want to be really sweaty, and I do sometimes, I'll use Aspect of the Serpent upstairs, and when we drop downstairs, I'll put on Seeker Vengeance for the mini bosses, and then swap back when we're waiting for the Mythar Blast to go upstairs. I'm using Focused, Storm's Recovery, Blade Hurricane. There has been a lot of talk about Storm Conduit and Blade Hurricane. Nato is getting more damage from Storm Conduit than he is Blade Hurricane. He is getting 4 dailies in there. Um, I've tried both. I did this for like 4 or 5 days with Storm Conduit, and I just preferred the Blade Hurricane. Those at-wills are hitting so damn hard, and it's very nice when we're on the Zolkers downstairs. Those at-wills are doing big damage, and it's allowing our electric shot to do big damage on the mobs as well. So I'm going to stick with Blade Hurricane, which is probably helpful also with the adjustments slash buff to the boots that we got 2 days ago. Still using Skirmish's Gambit for the 10% CA and Nature's Envoy to buff your powers by 15% when you do Force Ghost. So I have Force Ghost slotted, and then I have Snipe. I use this if it's like the very last artifact call and I want to squeeze in some damage right away. Boons, I use the movement speed boon, um, power, and yeah, I have it on, I think, defense. Yeah. Campaigns, nothing's changed, guys. It's all your offense, bloodlust, life lessons, blessed advantage, marathon runner. And I do have a bunch of points in the medicines because I use the potion of rejuvenation. Companions, summon, you're going to use anything for the group. So typically I'm on Spine Devil, Tutor, Black Death Scorpion. Ideally, as a DPS, DPSs don't usually want to use Portobello. They usually don't want to use Dritz. Um, just because those companions do more damage, less they do less damage when a DPS uses them. Because your companion's damage is based off of the summoner's ratings, so the companions aren't going to get as much damage. Companions: Batiri, Misk, Neverwinter Night, Raptor, and Celestial Lion's Presence. Again, Nato did a ACT with this, and it's doing around 4% overall damage. So Dire Wolf was doing about 2, and this was on a Warden. I don't know about other classes. So if you don't need the stats, which this build doesn't, you can use the Celestial Line in there. And I have Enduring Senses on. I know a lot of groups like to run, everybody uses the debuff enhancements. I'm not, our group didn't see the difference when we all ran it. We actually saw a positive gain when we all went personal on the DPS side. So that's what we're sticking with. But if the group asks me to use a debuff, I will. I'll put on whatever debuff, and then I'll just put on the golden line right here in the utility. No big deal. I have three sand sword knots to the companions: the accuracy, combat advantage, and forte. Mounts: artificer's enticement, executioner's covenant, tactician's precision, assassin's covenant, cavalry haste. Um, I put on this. I do prefer Gladiator's Guile. I'd rather have that than Assassin's Covenant. But as you can see in the build, I'm using all 4,000 of these ratings I get. So I believe I'm getting more damage from these 4,000 ratings than I am if I would have gained the movement speed. Um, is that? Oh, so Providence. I was using Ferocity. Hitro showed me that Providence is doing about 50% better, and Ferocity is maybe 2%. This one's doing 3% plus in the trial. So I'm using Providence. And because I went to the MC set, because I gained so much more extra strength, I went back to the Big B's hand. Uh, if there's a bard in the group, though, I go back to the Golden Warhorse. The bards are messing up the timing of everything. Anybody who's ran with bards can probably attest to that. So it's a mix. It's mostly brutals. Few dominance actually powers my shortage in this build. A couple skills and a couple precisions, and I believe that is it. Hopefully, and I am a gift. And okay, I think I covered anything. Quick, quick recap. We're getting a ton of extra damage in this build. And I was doing a stream and somebody even commented, they're like, why aren't you critting? And I am critting, not, almost 90% of the time. The reason why it doesn't look like it on the screen is because I'm getting a damage proc from the Day Supremacy that doesn't crit. I'm getting a proc from the Stalwart Garden Lion that doesn't crit. And I'm getting a proc from Providence that doesn't crit. So every hit I do has 3 hits that don't, 3 damage ticks off of it that don't crit. So it makes the screen look very weird. Uh, it's very effective. I'm very pleased with this build right now. And if you got a way to improve this build, please comment below. If there's something you don't like about it that I can do differently, and everybody will read your comments, so please comment. All right, stay classy, Neverwinter. See you soon.